voice in the background.
Hello and welcome to the Deal Part 2. How are you all guys, alright?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Anyone there?
Yes.
Earth calling the Arsenal fans.
we're in a state of shock. We've got a clean sheet and we won.
And we scored 4 goals as well, so even better.
Well, like I said, blimey, I just said on your show, Ryan, on the watch along, we've won the last 6 games out of the last 8. That's not bad going, is it, really?
Yeah, not at all.
League winning form,
for a rookie manager as well.
I think we've got a lot.
It's a rookie team.
Lot to look forward to. Yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to. Got a lot of players to be excited about. The new Maradona on the right hand side with a 10-minute cameo at the end of the match. Cedric Suarez.
Tiny man.
I mean, that's a great goal. What a really good finish that was with his left foot and always weaker foot.
After all the criticism he's faced as well from our fans, literally, why have you signed him for 4 years? He ain't played a minute for us. Comes on and does more than what Bellerin did in 80 minutes.
I know. Well,
Portuguese Carl Dickinson.
I'm thinking I'm going to be eating a bit of humble pie actually with regards to Suarez because there was somebody somebody dunking on Bellerin quite a bit on Twitter yesterday I think, and I just sort of said, look, he hasn't played for us yet, so I don't really want to go and check that thread if I'm honest with you because no, I'm saying.
Anyway, welcome to part 2 of Deal or No Deal. We had a really good time last week. I mean, it was one of the longest shows of all time, but thoroughly enjoyable. And we went through 20 players, and today we've got another 14 to go through, and we'll try and go through it a little bit quicker. We don't want to have another 2.5 hour show, I'm sure. But yeah, it's
listening back.
Obviously the rest of the squad. Now, just bear with me 1 second, Ryan. I know you're a pro here. I'm just going to drop you out for 1 second. Say hello to Rowan, and we can just, when it comes up to his time, we're going to have to do a bit of jiggling around so we can each answer questions. All right? So
I can't hear you, mate. There's lots of it's a funny noise on the line.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it was Chappers eating sweet wrappers or something.
It's hey man, I'm hands free, man. Back off, Stan.
Bear with me 1 second. I do apologise. I haven't had to do this before. Hello, Robin. How are you doing?
What's up, guys?
Good,
Hey,
thank
Ron.
you, mate. Good. Oh,
he's gone again.
Hi, Rohan.
Right, see you later, mate. That was quite a cameo, Rowan, I tell you.
Yeah, I was Alba on that first goal, closing down.
I know, exactly. Twice in the last 3 games.
2 and 2.
Twice in the last 3 games. Fantastic.
Now we do a deal for Alba for 30 million. That's the deal.
Well, exactly, mate. Exactly. Now, listen, we've got an unprecedented seven of us tonight, so we're gonna have to do a bit of jiggling. Now, I think Ryan still can hear us and see us and everything from where he is at the moment. Fantastic, thumbs up.
He's in the green room, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the green room. So we're going to do when we get to your go. We're just going to have to drop one person out each time, just so we can get round everyone. Okay. So a bit fiddly, but we'll get there in the end. Got a fantastic panel anyway. Got all the housewives' favourites on tonight. Got Stan.
Really?
Stan, Tony, who's a dial square to wear virgin. We've got Chappers. We've got Richard. We've got Rowan. And as you've previously seen, we've got the wonderful Ryan as well. So we'll crack on with it. So, as I said, last week we went through 20 players. This time we are starting from box number 1 again because it's a new show. So I'll go around clockwise if we go to you first, Chappers, and if you want to choose the first box.
Right. So how many's left? How many boxes are left?
We've got
Is it 20
14.
again?
We've got 14 boxes today.
Righto. Okay. Right. Let's go for Danny Ceballos, number 8. Who had a cracking game, I thought, today, actually.
Number 8. In box number 8, we have a very promising young player, Mr. Zach Medley.
Ooh.
Now, the offer for Mr. Medley is £5 million. Deal or no deal. Now, you know the score. For the new players, you can actually, just for their benefit, you can actually choose one of the panel to ask their opinion. They can't tell you what to do, but they can give you their opinion on that player. Okay, so Chappers, do you want to discuss Zach Medley with anyone?
Well, yeah, I think I do. It's a player that I don't know a massive amount about. I mean, I know he's had maybe a couple of first team games for us, or been in the first team squad, I think, this season. From what I read and from what I sort of see on sort of highlight clip things and stuff, he looks like a promising prospect. But again, not really one that I know a massive amount about. So I am going to ask someone. I think I'm going to ask Stan, actually. Stan, what do you reckon, mate?
Well, what can I tell you about Zach Medley? He's male. He's got 2 legs, 2 arms and a head. And
he's a unit.
He's really nice to his grandmother and loves that. And
he can play centre back and left back, by the way.
Left back too.
Chappers, I don't know anything about Zach Medley whatsoever.
Yeah.
So your phone a friend was a bit shit there, Chappers.
It was the shitest. Stan, I thought better of you, man.
Sorry, mate.
Okay, no, that's all right, man. That's all right. Okay, so yeah, Zach Medley, £5 million. So you say that he can play left back as well. Left back as well.
And he's about 6'4", 6'4", I believe.
I've been thinking
proper unit.
I've been thinking a lot about the left back conundrum recently, actually, and with regards to like Kolasinac, should we sell him? Should we keep him? I mean, I really quite like the look of that lad Jamal Lewis, who plays for Norwich. And I think he'd be an excellent challenger to Tierney, but you've just chucked a little bit of the spanner in the works there with Medley. Gosh, $5 million, you say? I tell you what, look, I'm just going to make a snap decision here. I think we need the money, don't we, to fund the party deal, obviously. And oh God, I just don't know. We've not got massive cover there at left back, have we? Go on, no, let's go deal. $5 million, let's go deal.
Okay, interesting stuff. Deal for $5 million. Right. Now, your turn then, Tony. So
box number 13.
You have to choose a box number. They do not relate to squad numbers or anything.
13.
Okay, so what did you say? Sorry, Big.
13.
13. Okay. Right. In box number 13, we have another one of the academy prospects that has been promoted to the first team squad this season. He's actually, just a bit of background information, he was, the Golden Boy Awards that Guendouzi won last season? He's actually been nominated for that this season without even having made a first team appearance for Arsenal. So, it's a pretty special thing to be nominated. His name is Trey Coyle, a very pacey winger. And the offer is £5 million, the same as Zach Medley. Now, deal or no deal? And you can choose one of the panel to discuss that with, should you so desire.
Since I know nothing about him besides he's a male and plays football, I'll go to Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot more about him than what Andrew's just said. I know he's quite an exciting prospect, as indeed are several of our young players at this moment in time. I personally would maybe be tempted to keep him, actually. I don't think 5 million is actually enough for a player of his potential. That's
he plays predominant. Well, actually, he can play either wing as well, which is quite useful.
Yeah.
But I think
I think he's left-footed, isn't he?
Yeah, previously he was playing on the left,
yeah.
but he can cut the same as Pepe. He can cut in from the right as well.
Yeah. So that's my advice, but it's up to you.
I'll keep him. No deal.
No deal. Okay. I think I'd have to be inclined to agree, to be honest with you. I think he is a very, very exciting young player. So I think I'd be very reluctant at 5 million to deal on that one. So yeah, I agree with you. Now, we go down to Stan the Man.
I will take number 12, please. Box 12.
Right, in box number 12, we have... Now, in this case, you have to imagine the player fully fit, because unfortunately at the moment he's not, but it's Callum Chambers.
Okay.
Now, the offer for Callum Chambers is 10 million quid.
10 million quid. And let me ask Richard what his thoughts are on Callum Chambers.
I don't think he's quite lived up to his initial potential when we bought him, and I think he was quite highly thought of, wasn't he, when he joined? And I know he's had a lot of injury problems, and he's had the odd good game. Is he going to develop any more than what he has done at Arsenal? I'm inclined to think no. And I think £10 million is probably not a bad deal, bearing in mind what we paid for him and how long we've had him and how few games he's played.
I wish I never asked him that, because I like Callum.
Your choice. I was just giving you some advice.
You should ask me, Stan.
So, I mean, I like Callum. I like that he plays, he's available for 3 positions, which is handy. And when he came back from his injury, I think it was under Unai Emery, when he came back. And I remember there was that game where not only did he had to then run across from right back and then start covering that left back. I thought it was fantastic. I'm not going to accept 10 million for Callum Chambers. No deal.
No deal.
Interesting.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Your turn this week.
Hello. No, I said pretend that he's fit. Do you not listen to me? For God's sake. No, I'm not talking about food this week. No. Just give me the offer, please. Thanks. Okay. All right. Thank you. Right. Well, got an offer for you from the banker, as you could probably imagine.
Go on then.
The new offer is £13 million.
£13 million. So an extra £3 million. I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean, the banker it wasn't even worth him picking up the phone, man.
Oh,
I mean, no.
What can I say? He's in one of those moods tonight.
Well, he can stay in that mood. It's not happening.
No deal.
No deal.
Okay. Well, I wonder how that's angered him. I'm sure he's got an even worse head now at the moment as well. No deal. That's fine. For my tuppence worth, I think I probably agree with you, to be honest. I think that's a bit low for Callum. I do like Callum, and he's got, I don't know, he just seems to have that determination to succeed at Arsenal. I don't think he's ever let us down, really, in the first team. And I think anyone could say he's let us down when he's played for us. So
I think that if he's, if things can go his way, he could maybe be our James Milner and be a player that can be useful in a number of positions. I'm not saying that he's a lad that we're going to start every week, But I do think that he's a good squad player, and that when we do use him, he's going to leave everything on the pitch for you.
Yeah, I agree.
My only concern is because he's got a cruciate injury. A lot of players never quite get back to their previous form, their previous fitness after a cruciate injury. That was what would worry me. That was why I thought the deal was actually reasonably good. And with 3 million more, I would have took that. But there you go.
I know, like I said, we have to, for the purposes of this operation, I think we just have to just pretend that he hasn't got that injury at the moment and just think of him as he is. But I agree, and I think we need to just see how he makes it back. But I think it'd be very unlucky on his part to get palmed off without having that opportunity of making it back. But anyway, it's your go now, Richard. Now, we've had 12, 8 and 13. So what's your box number?
I would like to have number 4, please.
Box number 4. Someone we've been discussing on Ryan's show earlier quite substantially, Richard. And it's Emi Martinez.
Ooh.
The offer you've got on the table for him is £16 million for someone who, what's he played? Under 30 appearances for us so far, but as we discussed earlier, he looks very impressive at the moment. So, deal or no deal, and you can ask one of your panel members for their thoughts.
I mean, obviously, like you said, we did discuss him at length, didn't we, during the match today? Sort of saying how impressed we've been with him. My kind of thought process is with goalkeepers in particular, they don't tend to attract the big transfer fees. And my other feeling is that he's going to be second choice, isn't he? So I think 16 million actually is a good deal. So I would say deal on that, yeah.
Wow, blimey. That's quite an interesting one.
I think for a second choice goalkeeper, that's a good deal. That.
Oh, here we go. You got a pissed off banker on the phone. Hang on a minute. Hello. Yeah, no, I think they're just in that mood tonight themselves as well, to be honest. I know, it was generous. It was a very generous one. Right, well, okay. Bye-bye. Right, well, the bank has actually withdrawn that offer for 16 million. He's put it down to 12.
Has he?
So
he's in a mood tonight, isn't he?
He's in a really bad mood tonight, and that's very unusual because obviously, you know, they don't normally do that at all. So yeah, would you want to reconsider your decision for 12 million?
The bank has put the fee down.
He's put the fee down. So I told you he's in a shit mood tonight. You pissed him off, Stan.
Does this banker also do our contracts at Arsenal?
That's a very good point. Yeah, very good point.
He clearly didn't watch the game tonight, did he? On the last couple of games. See, that's got me thinking now, because I thought 16 million was probably not a bad price for a second choice goalkeeper. I feel he's worth more than 12, so I'm going to change my mind and say no deal for that.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good point, because it's I can't think of a better second choice goalkeeper in the Premier League, if I'm honest. Purely, even if you just judge on the last couple of games, really.
No, I agree. He's played really well. He stepped up to the mark, and you know, unfortunately for him, I do feel as though he's only ever going to be the second choice while we've got Leno, and I feel that's, you know, he is a second choice goalkeeper, isn't he? No matter how well he's playing, I don't think he is going to become the first choice, unfortunately. He's been at Arsenal for 10 years and he hasn't managed to, and we've had some poor goalkeepers in that time. So yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, don't forget, he's only, 26 now, maybe, I think? 26 or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, he's probably...
He's still older than Leno, though, isn't he?
No, but I'm not sure.
I think so.
But similar age, very similar, isn't he? I can't remember either way, maybe a year either way, but yeah.
But, I mean, Leno has has become, hasn't he, probably one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League over the last year or so. And I can't see Martinez, no matter how well he's playing at the moment, dislodging him from the number 1 position. I mean, assuming Leno recovers well from his injury and gets back to the similar form he's been showing, I think Martinez has got the future of being the number 2, which is fine. If he's happy with that, that's fine. I personally feel as though he is probably one of the best number 2s, or he would be one of the best number 2s in the Premier League. But yeah, I mean, that's my feelings on it. But unfortunately, I think that's as far as he's going to go at Arsenal.
Yeah, I just think, like I said to you earlier, I think it's just great that Leno is going to feel some pressure from him, though, because of his performances. And I think that competition is going to only benefit both of them.
And he's a good goalkeeper to play in the cup matches as well, isn't he? If he's going to play, if he gets into Europe, if he plays in the Europa League, he's going to do a good job. If he plays in the FA Cup, the League Cup, and all that kind of stuff, that's good for the club, isn't it? So, you know, if we can keep him, brilliant. Because I say he would be one of the best number 2s, wouldn't he? So,
yeah, definitely. No problem. Well, no deal then for 12 million.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Rowan, it's your go. What box would you like?
There's only one number that I can choose today. That's number 14.
Number 14. Okay. Now, again, this player, a massive prospect. And I wrote down this list before the recent news, and hopefully what Arteta said the other day on his press conference, it's not a done deal that this guy's leaving. It's following Balogun. And he has been unreal in the under-23s and huge prospect. And as you probably saw, it was yesterday, I think the news came out, was it? I think that he's moving on, which is a real shame. And I hope it's not a done deal yet. I hope he can be persuaded to stick around. But the offer for him is £6 million. Who scored, Ryan?
West Ham.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent news.
Set piece.
I just noticed as well, on the telly, is Inter Milan v Arsenal.
On BT,
Winning 2-1 at the moment. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Rowan.
My fault.
I think I'll have
£6 million
look for some advice here. So I think I'm going to go to Ryan for some advice.
Oh, God. What was the offer?
6 million.
In terms of advice, his goals to game ratio, and not even goals to game, his contribution to goals is at that level extraordinary at all levels. And he's played for USA under 23s and England 23s. And again, his goal involvement is extraordinary for some of his age. And personally, it would be stupid of the board to let him go, in my opinion. He is one of them generational talents that we do have. We've got this amazing academy at the moment, young players coming through, and he's one of them.
Okay. So, I mean, lots of high praise there, right? Once in a generation talent. He's young. I also read that we've already rejected a $5 million deal from Brentford for him. So, given all of these considerations and how much he's scoring and the fact that our strikers right now, I mean, we've got a world-class striker, but there might be a situation where he will eventually move on. Lacazette might move on this summer or later. So given all of that, we could do with a striker there. And since he's an academy product, I don't really think that it's money lost, because that's money that we didn't have before.
Excuse me, Ron.
It's 2 million now.
Hello.
500K.
He's not even going to wait for your answer, Rowan. He said he hates lawyers, and from last week, he said he hasn't forgiven you for last week, and he just, oh, God, I don't know what you've done. Sorry, yes. I don't know what he's going to answer, but you can't guess yet. No, he just... Okay, fine. He just wanted to tell you to fuck off, Rowan, but there's no offer or anything. Sorry about that.
No deal.
Okay, no deal. Did you say? No, okay. No, that came from the banker, not me, Rowan, by the way. It has nothing to do with me.
I'll behave.
Did they rule it out?
They're checking for offside, but the player that claims is offside is laying on the floor. He can't move. You've got two players in between him. And
didn't someone else have a goal disallowed like that last season?
It's been chalked off.
Guna Glenn, who's in the chat. Hi, Guna Glenn. Thanks for watching. Yeah, he's just said it's been ruled out. So
that's ridiculous. But when you see it, you'll be like, "How the hell is he meant to move?" Because he was literally on the floor. There
was that goal, wasn't it? Was it Everton scored one last year when he was in front of the goalkeeper, wasn't he? Sort of injured. Somebody was. And I can't remember if that was actually disallowed or not in the end. That particular one. But anyway,
I can't remember that incident. Anyway, Ryan, it's your go. What box would you like?
What numbers have we got left?
We have 6, 1, 2, 11, 7, 3, 10, 9, 5, 4.
6.
Oh no, sorry, we've had 4. Beg your pardon. 6.
Had to be 6, didn't it, Mr. Arsenal?
Right, this is another one that's been promoted this year, and very promising young player again. This time it's Tyrese John Jules, and the offer is the same as Balogun. It is £6 million.
I'll get some advice from Richard, please.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the first team squad quite a bit, hasn't he? You know, he's played a couple of games and stuff. He does look a really, really exciting prospect, actually. You know, very fast. I personally think he's got a future. I'm not sure whether it's going to be with us necessarily. I think that's quite a low offer for a player who's actually played some first team minutes as well. So yeah, I think that's quite low for him. So I would be tempted to see if you can get a better deal. Maybe he's not being very generous tonight, though, so I don't know whether that's likely to happen. But I think 6 million. Personally, I think 6 million is too low for him because I think he's got quite a good future ahead of him, in actual fact, and I think he could be a good player in the future. So yeah, I think you should hang on for more money for him.
Yeah, I was thinking it was too low as well, but yeah, personally. So if the bank's going to stick with that, I'm going to say no deal.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
No, I don't blame you at all. Again, you just, I suppose, in a lot of these cases, you've got to sort of bear in mind our situation as a squad rebuild and the post-COVID transfer market, etc. But I do still think that would be too low for me and all. Right, and I do agree. Right, Chappers.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I was just going to add to that, actually, what you were saying. I think it really, the circumstances that you just mentioned has really forced every team to kind of reassess the value of the players in their squad. And actually, you know, are we going to be better off with or without? You know, do we sell them to make some money, or actually, you know, considering everything that's going on, is it probably better to hang on to them? So, yeah. Anyway, definitely. Sorry. What was the previous number? Sorry, Andrew.
6.
6. Okay. All right. Let's go for Bernie Leno, number 1.
Number 1. It is in box number 1. Mohamed El Neni. Who is our player still?
Momo!
Wow.
The offer for him is minus £3 million.
I'm pretty sure that's better than the Mkhitaryan deal, mate. But you know,
exactly. So would you pay £3 million to cancel El Neni's contract?
Momo. I mean, my favourite
Now,
memory.
don't forget, if you want to ask, Stan's still here as well. Obviously, he's not on the screen at the moment. But
of course, yeah.
You know, obviously, he's included if you want to discuss it with anyone.
Okay. I mean, you know, El Neni is nothing spectacular. He never has been. You know, he's a little bit of an engine and sort of chugs along. He's a kind of, you know, he's a one-pace player, if you like. The most adorable thing that he ever did was when Danny Welbeck scored once. I can't remember who we were playing, and it was just you just hear him, and he just sort of went, "Well done, Danny," like that, and it was just the most adorable thing you ever heard. Oh, well done, Danny!
Better than the goal against Barcelona.
But it was just adorable. Well, okay, you've got me on the ropes here because El Neni, I mean, his time at Arsenal is up, isn't it? But to actually sort of pay money to cancel his contract, that's a no from me. It's a no deal. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Just let him sit it out, and you know, being adorable.
Well, I'm sure it was last week. Stan, we was talking. Let me just have a quick word with Stan. Stan, well, was it last week on the same program? We had this conversation about El Neni, and we said about the fact that he would probably, in certain circumstances, be a better bet for us currently than Guendouzi.
He's muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Stan.
Sorry about that, schoolboy error. I was saying it wasn't specifically about Guendouzi. I was saying, I don't know if it was on your show or a couple of other shows I may have been on, but my thinking was, if you say that El Neni is, say, 70% when you're talking about his talent compared to some of the other players that we've got in the team playing in the midfield, even if you say it was maybe 60% of the talent, my argument was that at least with El Neni, you're going to get all of that 60 or 70% when he does play. You know,
I remember you saying that. Yeah,
even
it
though
was last week, I'm sure it was. Yeah, it's a very good point, and it's a fact. We're talking about doing a job, like fulfilling a role in a specific match for Arteta, and we're not saying that he's anywhere comparable with like a Guendouzi, for example. But when you consider that Guendouzi is very hot-headed and just runs around, and I'm sure, I'm absolutely sure he doesn't fulfill the role that Arteta's given him in the team in a lot of occasions. He just tries to take it upon himself and to do the things he wants to do and chase the ball and try and be part of the
chaos
action.
agent.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whereas someone like El Neni will get given a task, the role to do.
Steady head in there, isn't he? El Neni.
Yeah, and he'll get on with it and he'll do it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
$5 million player, nothing
to actually pay $3 million to get rid of him is not worth it at the moment. That's what I don't think.
I agree.
No.
So what were you saying, Ro? Sorry.
No, I was saying that we bought him for $5 million for Basel. We knew the quality that we'd get for $5 million, and he's justified his $5 million tag. You know, because I don't remember him doing anything spectacular.
There's one goal against Barcelona, which was beautiful.
Barcelona, which was the goal of the season, but I don't remember him doing anything stupid as well. Which, given our players and our midfield, is a big end, right? The first thing is that it's costing us a goal before we go in to see that they're scoring goals or not. By the way, Shaka scored today, so yeah.
I know, yeah. Good goal as well. No, I mean, Gunnar Glenn said his days here are numbered, I'm afraid. Get what you can for him. I've got no doubt, Glenn, I agree with you. But I wouldn't pay $3 million to get rid of him. That's what we're saying. I mean, if we could get $3 million for him just to get his wages off the books, you'd have to consider it. But
if it was the other way, I would. If it was $3 million for him, I probably would have taken the deal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But minus $3 million is no. There's no business sense in that whatsoever, is there?
No, it's not the same situation as it was with Mkhitaryan, for example, is it? Now, it's your turn, Tony, I believe. I'm correct. Yeah, it's
Check
definitely
with Scottish Madman on our left-hand side, number 3.
Number 3. Number 3. Number 3. Out pops Mesut Özil.
Wow.
The offer for Mesut Özil is minus £10 million.
Get your calculator out.
I know what I would do, but I know who I'm going to go to get my advice. Stan, floor is yours.
Mesut Ozil, Mary Poppins, as I've been calling him lately. A man who can hold an umbrella for 90 minutes, and that puts you out of a football match for the following game. I've been supporting Arsenal since I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm 52 this year, and for me, it's probably been the worst bit of financial business Arsenal has ever made. I would pay his contract out just to let him go from the club. Let me get rid of the bad smell and the bad influence. He's got more Twitter followers than Arsenal Football Club. I don't know how that happened. And, I could talk like this for another hour and a half if I really had to. Tony knows what I feel about Mesut Ozil. And I'd just like to give you a big up there, Tony, for just allowing me to get it off of my chest yet again on air to the world.
You're not allowed to persuade him, obviously, by the way.
As you can tell, I'm not a fan.
Right, well,
I'd actually go with no deal and give you $20 million. Just give the banker extra money.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, look at his contract. At 350 grand a week, he's making 18 million a year anyway. So, I mean, if you got a $10 million and you could pay it off, you actually saved 8 million a year.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Well, he's made nearly 7 million since he last kicked a ball for Arsenal. So it makes sense, doesn't it, really? I would do exactly the same. I said the same last summer, so I'll definitely pay him off to get rid of him. And 10 million will be a snip when you consider what you just said as well, Rod. So yeah, I don't disagree whatsoever.
But can I just say as well, here's the thing: if we're quibbling with William Saliba's team, whose name slips my mind, over the 2.5 million, which
we're not quibbling. That is bollocks, mate. I'm sorry, but that is bollocks. Did you read because when it all came out and they put their side first, it makes us sound like a real skim.
No, I disagree, Andrew. I mean, what actually has happened is when we agreed for him to get loaned back to his team, we put in a stipulation in the contract that he had to play 17 games, and as an incentive, we offered his team £2.5 million if he could play 17 games. He's played 16 games. The only game he's got left is a cup final.
Yeah, no.
And if you listen to Mikel Arteta yesterday, Mikel Arteta said, well, when he was asked what he would do, he said, yeah, obviously he has to stay. He's worked hard to get himself into a cup final. And then he comes back. And then the hierarchy have gone over Mikel Arteta and said, no, we're not paying the 2.5 million and we want him back. Thank you very much. He can't play for us until the season starts, next year. And I don't like it. It makes us look like penny pinchers. And it's not a really good start to William Saliba's career, who as a footballer has an opportunity to get a medal, a winner's medal in France before he comes to us. It's not good. It's not good PR.
I totally agree that he should be going back there to play.
It's not bollocks then. I'm not talking bollocks then.
No, not you. Not absolutely not you.
Right,
that whole thing that came out is bollocks because the whole situation changed since that agreement was made. We totally agreed that what Arteta said yesterday, he should go back and play that match. But there's no way that we should be paying them, the St Etienne, $2.5 million for him to go and play that game. We're doing him a favour because he is no longer their player.
Yeah, but we agreed to that.
We agreed to that pro-COVID.
No, we put the stipulation in. We said we want him to play 70 million.
Pre-COVID, before we realised that match was going to be at the end of July. So
there is a factor that's. I was just going to say there is a factor that's missing a little bit from this, from the Arsenal point of view, in that like there's some quibbling about the training. And the fact that they wanted him to stick to a certain training plan, and
they refused.
Etienne didn't want to do it. So I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, that's where the deal breaks down. It's like, well, actually, all right, well, if you're not going to fucking stick to our training plan, then sod you. We want to. At the end of the day, he's our asset. We want to look after him. But I mean, you know, it doesn't look. As far as it's not a good start to the player's Arsenal career, is it? You know, he's going to be gutted about that, and that's going to be a stinger for him for sure. To like have that farewell game, you know, to his team. I
totally back the club on this one, because it's the situation completely changed, and we're not going to have a full pre-season normal gap between the end of this season and the start of next either. We're only going to have probably maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
It's one game. We wanted that stipulation in there. It's a cup final, and you got to think moving forward. I mean, you know, Arsenal obviously haven't read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, because if we've got to go back to that team in the future, if they've got a player that we might have our eye on, they ain't going to play ball with us.
No other club would do it. We've been so soft in the past. I'm glad that they actually got a backbone nowadays, because they've allowed him to go, but they said only if you can make him stick to this training schedule so he's ready for next season. And we're not paying $2.5 million for him to play the cup final for you, because the situation's changed. If COVID hadn't happened, it would have happily paid that $2.5 million and happily let him play in the cup final and everything. But we're still letting him play in the cup final as long as they put him through this training regime for us, so that we've got a fit William Saliba for next season. That's not a lot to ask. And to actually, he's our player now, because the loan ran out yesterday. It's not our fault COVID happened, and it's not their fault COVID happened. However, we've still got to reach some kind of conclusion, and we've offered him to them as a favour, because he's our player now. And bearing in mind, he's going to start the season with us about 3 or 4 weeks after they play that cup final. So we're doing him a favour. But they said, no, we ain't going to put him through that training schedule, and we want £2.5 million. So we've got to pay them £2.5 million so he can play in their cup final, which they're going to get.
Let me ask you a question, Andrew. Playing devil's advocate, you're the player. How do you feel about it?
I'll be disappointed, but I totally understand, and they're going to get spanked anyway. Let's face it, against PSG. However, I would understand, because the situation's changed for both clubs. So we paid 27 million for this player, and what if he breaks his leg in the cup final? Because that's so Arsenal. If that would happen, he could
have broken his game 16.
Of course he could, but that's down to us. Then we're going to be loaning him as a favour to St Etienne. We can't do that for free. They should actually pay us £1 million. Or, you know, I'm joking, but I'm being on the other side. I mean, we get nothing out of it apart from giving them our player.
I think the problem with this whole situation, like I'm hearing what you're saying, Andrew, and what you're saying as well, Stan, and like I think really it's the lack. I think the thing that's most annoying for us as fans and for the player as well, one would imagine, is the lack of fucking transparency between both of the two clubs. It's all very much he said, she said, and there's no transparency there at all. And I do feel that I hear what you're saying. It's like. Well, okay, yeah, it's great that Arsenal have decided to sort of flex their muscles and say, all right, we're not going to get pushed around. But I feel that, perhaps it was, I'm just trying to think from Raul's standpoint. It's not a nice place. Don't go in there. It's just Kia Drabchin in a hot tub. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Huss Farmy maybe, but not gear
Honestly.
drafting. No.
But I don't know. I feel that it might be the wrong battle. I think, you know, all right, you want to flex your muscles, cool, but I'm not sure.
I think there's got to be give and take.
The
there's got to be give and take. From their point of view, we're giving him that. I mean, he's already had a broken foot this season, and he's had another injury after that as well.
Yeah.
So it's not our fault he ain't played the 17 games. It's not our fault COVID happened, but it's equally not their fault. So you've got to meet in the middle. How on earth can you expect us to loan the player so soon to next season starting for him to play in the cup final, and pay them another £2.5 million when we're skint ourselves as well?
We ain't got it.
It ain't on, is it? So you've got to meet in the middle and say, right, okay, you can have him, but we ain't paying the £2.5 million, so because we're doing you a favour here, and we're taking a massive risk on our investment. And we just want you to make sure that he follows this training regime, because 3 or 4 weeks later, the new season's going to start, and we want a fit Saliba.
And they've made our manager look like a dick as well, haven't they?
Sorry?
I was just saying, and they've made the manager look like a dick as well, who literally said a day before, "Yeah, I've got no problem with that. That's cool."
Exactly. Yeah, they've undermined Mikel Arteta big time.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it is absolutely perfect, because we came out and actually confirmed the fact that we are happy for him to go there. We're not being complete arseholes and saying, no, you can't have him. We're saying, yes, you can, but we ain't paying you £2.5 million so that you can have him in the cup final, because we're putting our neck on the line here. We're putting our massive £27 million investment on the line for him to play in a cup final for you. We get nothing out of this.
I got the
solution. We get nothing out of it at all.
I've got the solution. Send Louise.
Yeah, or send Mustafi. That'd be perfect. Send Mustafi. But seriously, what are we getting out of this, actually? What are we actually getting out of it, apart from a massive amount of risk?
So here's the thing, right? Like, there's one thing that I've taken a lot of pride in being Arsenal fan is that we conduct ourselves in a classy manner. You know, we stand by our players, we stand by our commitment, you know, and that's...
And we are. I think we are still. Because we're protecting our player. We're protecting our player as well, and our investment, because at the moment the world is in a fucking shit place financially. We can't just afford to just dish out £2.5 million.
Then we should never put it in a contract.
But we didn't know. We didn't know about COVID. No, but COVID has changed contracts full stop, mate. Because loads of players went out of contract yesterday, and they've had to have their. Well, some players have actually refused to play for their club. Don't forget. So some players have actually flatly refused.
Well, then how about middle ground? How about Arsenal saying, look, you can have him for the cup final, but let's reduce the fee or not pay the fee, or you know, the middle ground.
We're saying we ain't paying the £2.5 million, but otherwise you can have him. That's the whole point, mate. Because they've refused to put him through this training regime as well. Why did they do that? What does it matter to them? We're getting nothing out of this deal. We're getting nothing but risk.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that I love that about our club, that we've conducted ourselves in a good manner. We've given deals to Diaby, to Santi Cazorla when they weren't well and in the treatment table year. But that's what I hate about them as well, because you know we're soft and you know and
exactly, Rowan. Exactly.
Why I hate that is because essentially we're not the biggest spenders. We're not like the super rich club who's going to spend that money. If I was a Man City, I would be like, you know, why are we haggling over £2.5 million? Give them that and give them the player as well. You know, I don't think that it's a problem. I don't think it's a risk. But given the situation, in the interest of Arsenal, and I just have to think about Arsenal and Arsenal's interest here, and I would think that we wouldn't pay them the £2.5 million. As much as I wouldn't like it ethically, it would make me feel like a bad person the next day when I wake up. But yeah, where the club is at, you know, that's what you have.
Exactly. It's a different world than it was when that contract was negotiated. It's left us now with absolutely nothing to gain out of this, apart from potentially an injured player that we've just spent £27 million on. And normally he would have played those 17 games. They would have got that extra £2.5 million. he would have played the cup final, and then we would have had 3 months off in the summer. That's where the contract was agreed. That's what would have happened. But it's not that case anymore. We're only going to have 3 or 4 weeks until the new season starts for him to actually get fit with his new squad, his new teammates, and we get nothing out of it anymore. So the world's changed, and we haven't got any money anymore, same as all the other clubs. So there's got to be give and take, and they are not giving either. And all we're doing is giving. We're offering to give, and they're not offering to give us anything in return, like any kind of flexibility whatsoever. So I'm happy today that we are actually sticking up for ourselves for once. I don't think it's showing us in any less class, because Arteta yesterday confirmed that we're happy for him to go. But it's absolutely ridiculous to even consider paying them £2.5 million for him to go and play in that match in this current climate. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. We can't afford it.
Mate, I just thinking I've got a really good idea for maybe next week's pod. We could do hair or no hair, right? So no, hear me out on this one. Seriously, hear me out on this one, right? So it's the same deal, okay? But what you do is you've got an Arsenal player, right? So would you or wouldn't you change their hairstyle? So, for example, Louise, he's the original Fun Hair. We call him Fun Hair Senior in this house. Obviously Guendouzi's Fun Hair Junior, but they both. I mean, they've both got pretty fun hair. Let's face it. But I wouldn't change that. But so I know I'm going off topic, but it was just an idea. I mean, Aubameyang, man, this kid and play house party tonight, right? That's no hair. Keep that. I'm keeping that. So keeping that. Sorry, I've gone off topic a little bit, haven't I?
I've completely lost track where we are. I think it was your go, Tony. It was your go, wasn't it? I think, and I've completely lost track. Who did you choose?
We had Mesut Özil was the last one.
Oh yes. And we agreed a deal, didn't we? I think. Yeah. So it's your go now, Richard. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No problem. I'll have number 11 then, please.
Number 11.
Yeah.
This is one of the last crop doing exceptionally well over in Germany again. He's also been knocking the goals in from right wing back position. It's Özil Tutu. Özil Tutu.
Oh,
I don't know how to pronounce it, but he's been playing
Özil Tutu,
yeah. And the offer for him is £2 million.
2 million.
I've got a feeling about this kid. I'll talk about it after you've made your decision. But
I mean, yeah, he's another one, like you said, who's, we've got a lot of these similar type of players, haven't we, in coming through the ranks, actually, of which, unfortunately, I've just got a feeling a lot of them aren't going to make the grade with us as good a potential as they look. But having said that, I think they're part of, we've got them at the club. I think £2 million is not anywhere near enough for him, his potential. So I am going to say no deal on that 2 million.
No, I agree. I agree. I think that in his case, I've got a weird feeling that they're going to sell Bella in the summer, and I think
I think so.
I think they've bought Suarez to replace him, and I think they've got Özil Tutu for that role planned long term.
Did you see Bellerin after the game today?
Yeah.
He looked almost, to me, he had the face of someone who's resigned to the fact that he's now lost his place to Suarez in the team, because he's seen how much better than him Suarez is. And I do think that he knows now his best option is to get out. And like you said, that could present an opportunity for this young lad to get into the squad next season and maybe do a similar job to what Saka's done. Maybe get an opportunity and push on. So, I mean, it's difficult to say, because we've got so many of these players that, to me, are very similar in the kind of potential that they've got. We've got
It's
quite a few,
brilliant.
haven't we? Yeah, no, it is brilliant. But unfortunately,
we've almost got too many to choose from. It's amazing.
We have, and that's the problem, isn't it? Because unfortunately, a lot of them aren't going to end up making the grade with the first team, either with us, because there's too many of them. And I just think that's going to happen. And unfortunately, some of them are going to end up having to move on, whether that's on loan for a while or whether they're going to just have to be sold. I just don't think we've got a big enough opportunity for them all to come through at the same time. You know, I remember back in the days when, you know, Rocky Rocastle came through and all them lot, there was quite a few of them, but it was only enough really to they could all sort of come through together, and it was all right because it wasn't two whole teams work. We seem to have about 20 of them, don't we, that are all really, really good, and unfortunately they're not all going to make it through, are they? I mean, Zech Medley, we talked about before, is another one who I don't think is going to make it at Arsenal. Unfortunately, I think he's going to have to move on and make his career somewhere else. And I think there's a few of them. I mean, like you said, if Bellerin does go, this Tutu lad might come in and he might get promoted into the squad. But if not, then again he might end up having. I mean, like you said, he's in Germany, isn't he, on loan? And there's, you know, that might be where
he's
he
taken to it really well.
Yeah, he has, and that might be where he ends up. That might be where he ends up permanently. But I mean, you know, certainly in terms of this, I mean, 2 million would be nowhere near enough for any of our young players, I don't think.
Well, he's a right back and a right wing back. However, for this team, I can't remember who it is he's playing for, but for that team he's playing for, he's a right winger. So he's been knocking the goals in as well. He scored 2 or 3 goals on the trot for in consecutive games, and he's looking really good, really, really good. So I've got a feeling that
I think he'd fit well into Arteta's system as well, wouldn't he?
I think he would, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's perfect for.
Do you mind if I chuck a spanner in the works here?
No. You're not going to talk about him growing his hair or swapping hair with Louise or something, are you?
No. Although that might be interesting. I haven't seen his hair, to be fair. Hair watch. So what do you fellas think about possibly Nelson dropping in at right wing back?
I've been saying. Do
you think there's
I think it's a perfect idea. That's what I want. Yeah, I think you said that last week. I think it's a great idea, and I'd love to see him there. He played in a right wing back position for the England youth team and the under 23s several times, and I think him behind Pepe's is mouth-watering. I think he'd be able to overlap. There'd be interchange. And I think it'd be.
Is he better than Ainsley in that position? Do you think, though?
I think so. Yeah.
I think Ainsley's a bit better defensively, isn't he, than what Reece Nelson would be? I think Ainsley.
It remains to be seen. I don't know. I can't say hand on my heart because I haven't seen enough of Nelson in that position to say. But I think in the mould of how well Saka did at left back, I think that he could be equally as good on the right side. I'm not saying he's going to be the answer defensively.
I just think in order to play a wing back or a right back, one of the first things you need to be able to do is to defend, right? And none of the names mentioned can. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is a very poor defender. Reece Nelson is a poor defender. He's not even a very good winger, to be fair. I just don't see why. Look, I want our youth kids to do really, really well. I want them to come up through the academy and be first teamers. But sometimes you have to be a little bit, you have to take the glasses off and say, well, maybe they're just not good enough. And I don't think a lot of our youth are very good enough to be main starters in the Arsenal squad, number 1 starters. I don't see it.
I thought Nelson played really well tonight. I thought he was. I thought he was excellent. He was really lively, buzzing about. You know, did a lot of great work, just sort of drawing defenders.
I think it's also far too early to make a definitive conclusion on any of them, apart from Saka, I should say. But I think they've all got to prove themselves again next season, because this season has actually been a write-off with the way it's been disrupted and with injuries and with 3 managers to play under. So I think it's still too early. All I'm saying is I think it's worth a shot to have a look at him playing in that role for a couple of games. But I mean, we've got not much of a better opportunity in the running when we haven't got much of a chance in the league. It's worth experimenting a little bit, I think.
That's what I thought. I thought it might be worth giving him a few games, towards the end of this season, and just see if there's any potential for him to kind of step up and do, as you say, do what Saka's done, and also to an extent do what Maitland-Niles has done as well.
I don't think Saka's can defend very well, but I think everyone will say that he had a great time at left back filling in. He did exceptionally well, and I'd just like to see what Nelson could do in a similar role. But anyway, let's move on. Whose go is it now after Richard? It's yours, Stan, I think, isn't it?
I will have then number 7.
Number 7.
Yes, please.
Is the one and only Eddie Nketiah. And the offer for Eddie is 15 million.
Okay, and I would like to hear from Ryan, please.
Okay, what's the offer, sorry?
15.
For
and West Ham are beating Chelsea 2-1, I believe.
2-1?
Yeah, just
fantastic.
My cousin will be very happy.
We're all very happy if it goes like that.
No, but definitely. I'd be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, he's a West Ham fan, so he'll be delighted even more so.
Lampard's over the moon.
Jumping for which one, actually?
Frank.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 Franks.
Yeah.
Senior or...
So what's your thoughts on Eddie then, Ryan?
Eddie, so yeah, back to Eddie. Yeah, again, coming from our youth system, which I just said earlier about it's fantastic. So many of our players coming from the youth that are fantastic at the moment. But I think he could be one of the ones that do make it. He's coming, and let's not forget, because half this season he spent at Leeds was the best striker they had, and for some reason the manager wouldn't play him. Like Chappers took a chance on him, bringing him back, took a chance, and he's paid it back, and he's scoring goals, he's causing havoc, stretching defences. For me, it's a no-brainer for me, but I'm not going to sway you, but I know what I'd go if it was down to me.
See what Ryan says. That they weren't playing him up at Leeds.
Not probably. Not what.
I was more of the opinion that he couldn't get in the team ahead of Bamford. That's how I looked at it. Because Bielsa is no mug. He's a great manager and he's got a great eye for talent. I don't ever see a time where Eddie Nketiah is going to be the number 9 for Arsenal, week in, week out, first name on the street, starting in the middle for Arsenal. I don't see it. I would sell Eddie Nketiah, but not for 15 million.
Okay, so your answer is no deal?
Not for 15 million.
Cool.
So I don't know if the bank is listening. I hope he is.
Well, he's not going to put it up, is he? So there's no.
I want to make a deal with him, but the way the bank has been carrying on tonight, it's almost like someone's pissed on his cornflakes this morning.
That's going to be a dust up, mate. I tell you.
I think he's gone down the shed. To be perfectly honest, with a bottle of whiskey.
Oh dear.
Right, I believe we're back to you, Chappers.
All right. Let's have a look. Let's go number 5.
Ooh, this one is Sideshow Bob, Louise.
Hey!
The offer is £2 million. £2
million for fun hair, senior.
Yeah.
Fun hair.
Oh yeah.
Whole lot of fun on his head. Fun hair. I look. I think I know which way I'm going to go, but I'm going to ask Rowan if he's got any ideas on this particular player.
Right. £2 million for David Luiz, Rowan.
So right now we've got 3 senior centre backs in our squad, right? Luiz, Socrates, and Mustafi. These are the 3 senior centre backs that we have. And a few weeks ago, I was tending to think that Luiz is the best of the bunch because he has creativity. He can go forward. He can create those passes. In fact, today as well, he made that long pass for the second goal, I think, right? Like,
yeah, it was a really good pass. That
Yeah. Oh, that was an amazing pass to Tierney on the left.
right. But for me, the Man City game has really like sort of, put things into perspective that I don't want him to be teaching our youngsters how to defend, because this guy, there's a mental block. Gary Neville once said, right? He seems like he's on PlayStation being controlled by a 10-year-old. That's how he plays.
Just mashing those buttons.
Exactly, and always chasing the ball.
Like
right?
Daley Thompson's decathlon.
That's how he plays. And
there's been some smart 80s references tonight, right?
He's cost us in big games. He's cost us against Liverpool, he's cost us against Chelsea, and he's cost us against City. I just don't feel confident with him playing there as much as, I think that he could have done a better job if he was playing defensive midfield when he wouldn't be the last line of defense. Maybe he could have played that. But in defense, I just don't think that's great. We paid 8 million for him. We recoup some money and we get, we don't have to pay him for the next couple of years. I think we've signed him on a 2-year deal. So,
1 year.
1 year.
1 year,
yeah. So we signed him on a 1-year extension and we don't have to pay his wages as well. So given that, I think, that's my thought process. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do, but I pretty much
sure.
indicated, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with most of what you said there, Rowan, to be honest with you. I'm of the mind that, and I have been for quite a while actually, that has anyone heard the expression somebody's they've got the coat on? Does anyone know that expression? Yeah, they've got the coat on. And I was of the impression, I reckon probably halfway through the season, that David Luiz, as far as his career goes, he's got his coat on. It's what is this cushy in it? Oh, look, I'm at Arsenal. Like, I don't think that he's going to offer anything particularly valuable to our team going forward. However, his hair is rather fun. No, I'm kidding. If we can keep the hair, but sell the player, it's a deal.
We've got hair with Windows, haven't we? So it's fine.
I'll just say,
how long?
He becomes fun hair. No senior or junior involved.
Yeah.
If the Man City match hadn't happened, don't forget before the lockdown, he was classed as our best defender. Everyone was saying he's still our best defender, strongest defender. And if the Man City match hadn't happened, I know it's hard to understand. People will probably still think the same as it stands right at the moment. But I can't. That completely scarred me as well. And what pissed me off more than anything is the way he came out for that interview afterwards, and that really pissed me off. His attitude on that.
Fuck it, the contract business.
So I completely did a U-turn because before the lockdown, I would have said an extension for next season as well, just to see us through. I'd be very happy with that. But after that Man City game, I completely did a U-turn and changed my mind. I'll have to admit, I'm quite glad we got him for the rest of the season, but I'm a little bit disappointed we've got him next season.
It's not like it's more. I don't know. Whenever I watch him play, like I'm thinking about like him not doing bad things for the team rather than doing some good things for the team.
Yeah,
and that's you can't have that sort of confidence in what is supposed to be your senior defender.
No. I was really disappointed after that game. I really was.
All I would say is, in his defence, I mean, I'm quite a fan of David Luiz, if I'm honest. I think the Man City game, he wasn't really in the right frame of mind to play. I think that was obvious. And what you got to remember is, I mean, people saying he's well, no, it is maybe, but I mean, he was called into the squad when he didn't really want to be there, but he didn't want to let everybody down. So he said, "Okay, I'll sit on the bench." He wasn't expecting to play. But the point as well is, I mean, he didn't cost us that game. We would have lost anyway. We got outplayed by Man City before he made mistakes. We would have lost that game. He didn't cost us that game. He didn't cost us the game at Chelsea because we were getting battered when he was on the pitch. When he got sent off, we actually dug in and got a draw. So
I don't blame him for that Chelsea game.
He hasn't cost us any
Mustafi,
results, has he? He's not cost us any results this season. In fact, he's been our best defender over the whole season. He had a bad time at Man City, fair enough, but he didn't cost us that game. We would have lost anyway. You can't blame him for that defeat because we were never going to get anything out of that game before we started, let alone.
It was his it was his mental attitude that pissed me off.
Also,
because
we were going into the break 0-0 when he cost us the first goal.
But you say that, but one, Mustafi didn't cover behind him. He just let Sterling run into the space when Mustafi should have ran with him. So that's the first thing. And secondly, regardless of that, if we'd gone in at 0-0, we would have lost that game because in the second half, Man City would have battered at the door until they scored. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I don't think we can sit here and say we would have got a result against Man City if David Luiz hadn't made that mistake or the second mistake for the penalty.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the way we bowed out was because we went down to 10 men, because of the way we conceded right before before halftime. Maybe all the planning just went out of the window because of that mistake. I don't think Mustafi could have, and I'm not a fan, but I don't think Mustafi could have accounted or legislated for that mistake that he did. It was a routine.
Sterling accounted for it by making a run, didn't he? Sterling assumed he might miss it by making a run behind Mustafi. As soon as Sterling's run, Mustafi should have gone with him, covered the dangers, no goal, and David Luiz's mistake has been forgotten about. But unfortunately, he didn't have that cover, and we've paid the price, and he's paid the price by people now assuming that he's not very good because he had one bad game.
I mean, he did that.
I think
and then he pulled Mahrez, which is the same thing that he did on Salah before that. You know what's going to happen.
No, he gave away 3 penalties, I think, this season, hasn't he? Three penalties. Is it 4? Well, I was thinking of three of the big teams that we've played. Obviously, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. He's given away penalties in those games. But at the end of the day, he's made a few mistakes, of course. But you're a defender playing for Arsenal. That the defence isn't very well protected.
I just think sometimes I had to have a bit of self-reflection after that game because I've always been a fan of David Luiz, but I think it's sometimes quite easy to mentally protect players that you like and put the blame onto other players that you don't like in lots of cases. I think I had to think that I did that. I have to be honest because I don't like Mustafi because he's a walking time bomb ready to go off. But you've got to admit that lately, David Luiz is statistically more likely to actually make a mistake than Mustafi at the moment. And I do like Luiz. I don't like Mustafi. But I have to be honest with myself now and say, look, enough's enough. We've got to move on from these individual errors that we keep doing time and time again. They're obviously going to happen from time to time.
And the defenders
but you
that
need players that are less likely to do it. Sorry, Chappers.
I was just saying, and the defenders that produce them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just don't.
Socrates isn't totally innocent in that either, is he?
No, he's the worst. Actually, personally, I think he's one of the worst of the lot. Socrates, but anyway,
he's like Hulk, isn't he? Smash, smash.
Yeah, he is, and he's like you said last week. He's very miserable.
Oh God! He's a master at misery.
Right, we are on to it's your go, I think, Ryan, now, isn't it?
Yeah, what numbers have we got left, sorry?
Right, we've got... Actually, what was the decision on Louis? Sorry.
It was a deal, but we keep the hair.
It was. Oh, yes, that's correct. Right, we've got numbers 2, 11, 3, 10 and 9.
No, we've had 11, I think.
No, we've had 11 and 3. We've had.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
3, yeah.
It's my writing. We have. Beg your pardon. So we've got 9, 10,
2.
2, yeah.
2.
I'll take number 10.
Oh, man of the moment, number 10. Cedric.
Yay!
Oh, Cedric!
Keep.
And The offer for Cedric is £10 million.
That's for me. That's too low. Personally, he won me money, so it's too low. If the bankers to keep it at 10 mil, then it's a no deal. I mean, the guy. As we watched the game earlier, he came on for 10 minutes. I know it's 10 minutes, but he came on. He did more than what Hector Bellerin did in 80.
It's $1 million a minute, though.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well,
$1 million a
it was well
minute,
worth that,
right,
wasn't it?
But
It
still,
was well worth that if it was paid.
If you played the full game,
You say
it's worth
that.
a lot more, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
You say that, but as I said, he's done a lot more than what Hector did. That's after 10 minutes.
Hello.
How long has Hector been here?
We did a lot more than Hector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You might get more money now.
Banker didn't see.
Just calm down a minute.
Oh, maybe not then.
Okay. All right then. Right, Ryan. He said he'd pay you $1 million to fuck off.
No deal.
But then afterwards, he said the offer for Suarez is £13 million.
Still no deal for me. I mean, I'll take some advice. I'll go to Rohan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the banker's missing a zero at the end of it, right? That's the value of that player.
He doesn't actually realise we've got the new Maradona on our hands.
Greatest of all time. Goat. He's the goat.
He didn't see the goal, did he? Clearly.
No.
Exactly. I mean, see, I wasn't a fan when he came in because he's Southampton's second choice right back. Why would he be good enough to challenge for Arsenal's first team choice? But when then, and I'm not going to base it completely on the 10-minute show today, but the dire position that we are in with the other 80 minutes that we saw, it seems like Cedric's going to give Bellerin good competition, and he will at least match up to Bellerin's capacity right now. And I think we could maybe get more for Bellerin. So keep Cedric, sell Bellerin.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts are as well. You mentioned Southampton, but he might not have fitted Hasenhüttl's playing style, whereas he might fit Arteta's going forward, and that's maybe why he got a 4 years contract as well. I mean, how old is he? 27, 28?
28.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right that he was the second choice either. I think he lost his place when he got injured to that Valerie bloke. Why don't you come on over? And I think he struck because Valerie played quite well. I think he's just struggled to get back in the team, which is fair enough. But before his injury, I think he was more than his first choice.
He was
right
first
back
choice.
at Southampton.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But clearly, when he was not injured during before the lockdown and during, Arteta's clearly seen something in him before he got that recent injury to merit that 4-year contract. Knowing that he'll provide, it's 2-2 now, by the way, to provide competition for Hector, or if not, surpass him and be that first choice right back for now. Because let's be honest, Hector's, even before this injury, his defensive work for a right back wasn't what it should be of a right back that we've known throughout the years. Whereas Cedric can come in, and this is fully fledged international. He's won the European Championship with his country as well. So again, 13 mil is again way too low, and I'd have to say no deal.
Cool. Okay, no worries. I think it's right. I think he's a good, experienced Premier League player and international, and I think he's definitely worth looking at. And I think, like I said to you on your show, Ryan, as well, the fact that we gave him a 4-year deal makes complete sense, because if we only gave him 3 years, next summer we'd have to renegotiate with him again. and because he'd be down to 2 years left.
Yeah.
And under the new rules and regulations, as we're not sticking to, we're not supposed to let players go into the last 2 years. But so it makes sense as far as that's concerned. I think anyway. Anyway, right. Now we're back to you, Tony, and we've got 2 left.
Yeah, since we just spent 5 minutes talking about him, I'll go with box number 2.
Box number 2. That's one of my big hopes for the future. It's Emil Smith Rowe. And the offer for Emil Smith Rowe is £10 million.
No deal.
Great. Oh, do you know what? I'm absolutely delighted you said that, Tony. No, honestly, I've got high hopes for this kid, and I think he's. I really think he's going to have a role to play next season. Personally, fuck off.
Who is this guy, man?
Hello. I
Pissed
don't
off.
blame him at all. I don't blame him. I wouldn't take 10 million either. Okay. No. He's the new KDB. He is the new Maradona at right back. Anyway, we're talking about ESR now. Okay. All right, fine. You just put the phone down on me. Yeah, he's really pissed off now. He said, look, I've got to get someone to take one of my offers because he's losing his reputation, he reckons. So, the new offer for Emil Smith Rowe, £22 million. 22 million, more than doubled it. So you've really pissed him off. All of you, he said.
Good.
He wants a lot of you to fuck off. That was his exact words. So, what? You can have a chat to someone, Tony.
Still not enough for me, but I'll go to Chappers and see what he thinks anyway.
Well, I mean, my main motivation, I think, at the stage of the evening is just really to keep pissing the banker off, isn't it? He's an exceptional talent, Again, it's a bit like what I was saying earlier. It really has made the situation at the moment has really made clubs have to kind of sit back and assess and actually think about, all right, okay, so do we actually do we need to keep this player? And he's one guy. I mean, we've spoken quite a bit about a lot of the youth prospects, and some of them are going to make it, and some of them might not make it. He was very unlucky with his loan in Germany. With just sort of suffering injuries and stuff like that. But I really just think that the guy has so much more to give us. He's just a real shining light, I think, and I think he will be another one of those players who will absolutely put in those performances that is just going to make the manager sit up and take notice, and put him in his plans, I suppose, put him in for consideration. So even at 22 million, I know we need to raise some money for the party fund somehow. And I'm just talking about having a party, actually, not buying any players. A few million would be fine. No, so I mean, yeah, just I think there's a lot to see from Emil Smith Rowe. It's a big offer, but there's a lot to see from the boy, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with Chappers there. No deal. Bankers will be more pissed off, but no deal.
The banker has 0 deals, and he's actually cost 1 deal on Chambers, which was going through.
Oh, no, seriously, Rowan, you are going to get your head kicked in if you're not careful.
Worst banker ever.
Do you know what about Emil Smith Rowe? One thing I'll say is if he was playing for one of these cool hipster clubs like Leipzig, I think that he will be talked about all across Europe at the moment. That's what I think. Like obviously a player that we're after, Upamecano, I think everyone was talking about 60 million quid in the summer and everything, and he's only 20 years old as well, and about the same age as Emil Smith Rowe. And I think if he was playing, if he hadn't got injured in the playing in the Bundesliga, like you said, Chappers, last year, I swear to God, he will be one of these, young players that all of Europe are talking about. And 22 million, I 100% wouldn't take that either. He may not
I think it's
make it still. I don't know, but I've got very, very, very high hopes for him. So
that injury kind of stunted his development a little bit, I think. But just look at what he's been doing at Huddersfield. All of his teammates are absolutely raving about him, and his manager's raving about him. And the fans are raving about him.
Look at Stan.
Be back. Oh,
Barcelona Luchador's back.
Oh my God!
Oh, hilarious!
Luchador signing.
You know what? Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
Bring out him.
coming back to me.
Gimp
Sorry,
in
I
Pulp
was,
Fiction. Right, where are we? I think we're down to the last one, and it is. I do beg your pardon. Who was after Tony? Is it you, Richard, or Rowan?
I think Rowan got skipped, didn't he?
Yeah, Rowan.
Bankers.
You got the last pick of these boxes, Rowan.
I'm gonna pick number 9.
Number 9.
Good choice.
Inside number 9, we have Mr. Pablo Mari. Or Mari, I should say. Now, the offer for Pablo Mari is £14 million. £14 million.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Rich for this.
Personally, I've been really impressed with him, actually. I know he's only played sort of 2 games plus 20 minutes. He's looked very composed. Left-footed centre-back as well, which I think is important because having that balance at the centre-back positions, I think is good to have. We just made a good signing with him anyway, a long-term kind of future with the club. He's still reasonably young. He obviously did well against Liverpool in the World Club thing, didn't he, for Flamengo? So I think that's far too low, actually. When you look at what other defenders have gone for, such as Van Dijk, for example, not necessarily that he's as good as him, but that's the sort of standard, really. And we've paid 30-odd million for Mustafi, haven't we? So I think 14 million is far too low for someone who looks as though they've got a decent future in the club, So that's my thought on it.
I can't believe during that speech you haven't mentioned how devilishly handsome he is either.
Well, he is, but he's we don't want to talk about that, do we?
Oh yeah, if I was a woman, I'd be, trying to get him into his DMs, I reckon.
No, I'm pretty sure that's probably the case.
Hair?
Yeah, I have to Google this now,
Yeah. He has got good hair, actually. I'll give him that. He's got good hair.
Oh, the hair,
that is
mate! I'm sold on that hair. I'm sold on the hair already.
Yeah.
I mean, his hair's got 14 million on its own, isn't it? So let alone the rest of it. So I think that's far too low.
It's a very hair-orientated edition, I reckon, isn't it?
It is. It is. Well,
Sorry about that.
when you've got any, you appreciate it more on other people, you see.
Yeah.
Right, Rowan, 14 million for Pablo Mari.
I tend to agree. I think any centre-back that's, worth playing in the Premier League is going to cost more than 40 million, right? And a left-footed centre-back, one that we don't have, actually. I don't think that there's any other left-footed centre-back. So to find a replacement is going to be difficult. He's only 2.5 games. I was hoping that he'd get a run in through this season and basically get a couple of, we'd know what he's like when the pressure is on. The first pressure game that he played, he basically got injured in 20 minutes. So that's all we have to go by. But 14 million seems too less for him. And he's definitely better than the 3 senior defenders that we have. I could tell that with the 2 games. So, we'd keep him and sell those guys.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
you know what?
oh God.
We know what's coming here, don't we?
Oh, hang on. There's going to be a dust up here, isn't there?
I think so.
Yes. Yes, it's the lawyer again. I know. I know. I know. God, calm down. Okay. Yeah. He says, you haven't seen my hair. I mean, as in his.
I was going to say we haven't seen yours either, mate.
He's finally. I ain't got none. That's why. He's finally had a haircut. He said he finally got booked in at the hairdresser's. He said, a Danny LaRue, he's called it.
Oh yeah, that's a blast from the past.
Okay. All right. Right.
Danny LaRue, bloody hell.
Right. I know I'm showing the age there, aren't I?
Old school, isn't it?
Rowan, he said, fuck you. But then afterwards, the offer to Pablo Marie is £198 million.
He's desperate now. He's desperate.
No deal.
Minus £174 million.
So I need to do quick math now. That's like 24 million pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's offered now. Okay. Damn, they don't air. Pressure. 24 million.
I mean, when you think he's only played 2 games and 20 minutes, that's probably not a bad deal, is it? Even though he would be difficult to replace, being a left-footed centre back, and what we've said, I don't know.
Go buy
Sorry. Did Rowan ask you, Richard? I mean, God, you got to obey the rules here in this.
How much did we pay for
I'm
him?
joking.
Didn't we pay 14 million for him?
No,
Yeah.
isn't it 8? I think it was something like
8.
that.
Yeah, I don't think it was that much, was it?
It's
No.
12 to 13 what it ended up being with the signing on.
Yeah. 24 million. What's got me thinking more than 24 million is the fact that I say no to every deal that makes an outsider think that we've got a title winning team when we're languishing in 10th. So someone. But is that player Murray? I wonder. So what I would think is that we paid 8 for him, we get 24, that's 16, and then for 16,
Then you got to buy a replacement.
can we buy a replacement for 16, a left-footed centre back?
Well, he's the only left-sided centre back in the world, I think.
Indica.
There's no more.
There's no more.
Indica.
He's the most attractive centre back that you're ever going to get. Let's face it, with the best hair.
He's got super hair.
I'm gonna tell the banker to fuck off and not take his offer.
Never darken my door again.
Wow.
I'm switching my phone off. So it's a no deal for 24 million.
Oh, right.
It's a tough one, that actually. In all seriousness, it is tough because you could make a massive profit. It's just a quick one with very little fuss. But like you said, who do we get? We do need more defenders. And who do you get for that money? I don't know. It's tough. I know we're projecting how good he's going to be long term, but he does look like a really good player.
Yeah. Do you know what I would do?
Whoever you buy is projecting as well, isn't it? Sorry, what did you say, Stan?
I would use the money, take us all on a 3-week all-inclusive holiday to Sandals Beach Resort and promote Zach Medley.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely amazing. Do you know what?
Yeah, let's do that. I'd say we do that.
Can we get a haircut as well, man? I really, really need one.
It's all included.
Richard, we'll have to do a from Dial Square to where lads holiday to Benidorm or something and just get lashed for a weekend.
From Dial Square to hair. Maybe that.
Yes, that's good. Yes, very, very good. I like it. I'm going to change the name forthwith. Anyway,
I do appreciate a good pun.
I do. Yeah, you can't beat it, can you? Daniel LaRue will be proud of that one. I must. Right. Well, I think we've had a really good go through that. Actually, it's not. I don't think we're quite as far off as people think about getting a good team that at least can provide some sort of resistance and challenge in the league. I mean, yes, of course we're far short, but I don't think it's quite as bad as we think. And I think going through this exercise which has been really good fun, by the way. I've really enjoyed it. But I think it's shown that we're not that bad. We're not quite as bad as we think, and we're heading in the right direction. And the best thing is we're under the right gaffer, I think, now with Arteta. I don't know what you think about that, but
that's what I was going to say. Actually, is about. Oh, hang on.
Oh shit!
Sorry, mate. It's a long old night, isn't it?
This banker must work for Barclays. He's a Barclays banker to me.
They've all been shut in lockdown, haven't they? So he won't have made any money, will he?
You're so depressing.
What's Barclays banker?
West Ham has scored the winner.
Have they? Oh, that's the result. Who scored it? Do you know?
Who has? Who scored the winner?
It's just coming up, actually.
West Ham.
Oh,
Bloody hell.
Your bankers are old, mate.
Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you, banker. Sorry. Bloody hell, I know you're a busy man.
well, good goal. That's a nice goal, that.
Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
He's left-footed as well.
Yeah. Very left-footed.
They've gone a bit mad on the old bubble making machine, haven't they?
Okay, right, bye-bye. Right. Rowan.
Yes.
He said, fuck you. Actually, his exact words were, fuck you right back. And he said he will give Arsenal £50 million and Carlo Ancelotti in exchange for Mikel Arteta. Deal or no deal?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Like Ancelotti, I rated him as a manager generally, but there's a couple of things that in the past few years that have
I've got a feeling Banker ain't going to like this answer, but carry on. Sorry.
It's because he makes such stupid suggestions. That's the reason why he gets these answers, right? So now the thing is that this guy Ancelotti went to Bayern Munich and he got sacked from there because he wasn't working the players hard enough. That was their justification. You don't want that sort of a guy at Arsenal because Arsenal.
I think Özil would love that.
Yeah, Özil will love that, and the fans will not love it. The players,
the Butlins Emirates, we should rename it.
The next game, you'll see them gained 30 pounds each and turn up on the pitch. That's one, and the second and the latest one is. Have you seen his latest interview, which was yesterday, I think, where a young guy who's been. Or I don't know if he's
Luke, wasn't it? Luke,
who's been at the club for 11 years and he left yesterday. The journalists asked him, "What do you think about this guy and him leaving?" And he didn't know anything about him.
Who are you talking about?
Luke Garbett, his name is.
Exactly.
Luke Garbett.
Me not knowing is fine, but Ancelotti not knowing is not fine. And I don't want that sort of a manager. I want a manager who is in control of the club, thinks about the longer term, thinks about the whole club. Because if our manager is not thinking about that, then we'll go to shit because, the people above them are just not capable enough. So
I think Stan Kroenke would love that situation where he could come in the middle of the night while everyone's sleeping, sell a player, and in the morning the manager's not realised. Love some of that, I think.
So, given that,
he's probably sold Mesut Ozil. That's why we've not seen him.
Yeah.
He's pocketing
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
All that back
He's got
stuff
100
is
million for him in
bullshit.
his back pocket.
Makes total sense now.
But
Yeah.
He needs the money for his new stadium, doesn't he?
He's injured, apparently. Yeah, he's
But
not.
I'd like to hear from
Back.
everyone else. Do they think anything else? I mean, and also I think that Mikel Arteta is like sort of the future for him. I wasn't too excited about him joining Arsenal as well because he didn't really have first team managerial experience. But I've been fairly impressed by what I've seen. You know, I think we've improved. I think he says the right things. I want to see in game week 1 what he actually does. That's when I judge him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that like obviously we I mean year dot, I suppose, year 0 if you like, was when Arteta joined, and obviously he hasn't had much of a chance to kind of spread his footballing philosophy, if you like. But it's really, really clear from within the club that the players have all absolutely bought into his footballing philosophy and the way that he wants to run the team. And you know, there's absolutely no point in you know, it's a massive sea change. There's no point in getting rid of him now because I really think that, you know, we have an awful. I mean, we've got a long way to go for sure, but it's going to be one hell of a ride. I just have this feeling it's going to be one hell of a ride. You know.
Yeah, I've got the excitement back. That's the main thing. I just, I don't think he's going to do it within one more season. I think he would need at least a couple of seasons, Rowan. But I'd very happily stick with him. And like you just said, I couldn't put it better, Chappers. I'm just looking forward to the ride going forward, to be honest, and seeing players develop and how things are going to progress. So I think it's really exciting. It's the first time I've been properly excited about the future for Arsenal for quite a few years, if I'm honest. So yeah, I'm definitely wouldn't deal for that.
I have a question. Do you like, we've done a keep or sell? You know, how many players away are we from potentially breaking into the top 3 and then challenging?
I don't think it's too much. It's a lot of it is down to the coaching as well, and I think with the rest of this season, a pre-season, and if we can get a defender to go alongside Saliba, a Thomas Partey type midfielder, you know, a good strong defensive guy, but also who's very capable of going box to box, and depending on whether we keep Aubameyang, I think then we would just need someone to go alongside a Mesut Ozil replacement to help bring through and give Emile Smith-Rowe a bit more time. So an attacking midfielder as well. I think if we get those 3 players, then we are quite comfortably sort of top 4 challengers. I'm not saying we're going to win the league with 3 players, but we could be much more competitive under a better coach. In my opinion, I think so. Obviously, if Aubameyang goes, we'd need and Lacazette, then we'd need a forward as well. But realistically, I think that'll give us a really strong spine. Then if you include Leno, include Aubameyang, and then if we get someone to go alongside Saliba with a bit more experience and, as I say, another strong midfielder, I think we wouldn't be too far off then with sort of packing out the rest of the squad, getting rid of a lot of the deadwood and the negativity that's gone on for the last few years. Get rid of Özil, for example. Get rid of Socrates. Get rid of Mustafi. Get rid of Louise. I know we're going to get rid of Louise now, but we want to get rid of these people that have been around for far too long, making mistakes and thinking it's all right to do so with no consequences. That's the main thing. So I think we could. I think we'd get that positivity back under Arteta, and that's going to go a long way with 3 new signings. I don't know what you guys think on that.
I would say 3 players we need realistically to be considered a serious top 4 team again. You know, a central defender, big, powerful, strong central defender, a good defensive midfielder to sit in front and protect them, and a midfield player who's going to score goals, because that's the other thing that we're lacking, aren't we? And I think if we got those 3 players in over this summer, then I see no reason why we can't actually put ourselves in a position to challenge for the top 4 next season and get in the top 4. And then once we've done that, then we can then maybe add another 3 players after that to then go to the next level to actually challenge for the title. Hopefully the young players have had a couple more years experience as well. They're going to develop, aren't they?
That from the Ashford one as well.
I think that we're a little bit more than 3 players, because I think we could do with a bit of depth as well. You know, if you're going to go through a whole season and all of the competitions, we need some good depth players as well. But Mikel Arteta came to us and it was identified that one of his key attributes is to be able to improve players. You know, we heard a lot from his time at Manchester City that, you know, he was involved in bringing on Sterling's game and Sane's game. So I'm interested to see if any of the players that we have, that whether they show, you know, improvement under Mikel Arteta, and he makes some of the players that we've got better. So maybe we don't have to get rid of as many as I currently think that we do.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, Stan. I think it's not people. I think the overreaction of the first 2 games after the restart was quite unbelievable, even for Arsenal fans on Twitter. I think the meltdown was horrendous. And, you know, it was the end of the world as we know it. And they didn't feel fine. Let's put it that way. So it was a nightmare, wasn't it? But I think it's far less of an emergency than some people think. But I agree, Richie. I think it's like you say, 3 would make us a lot more competitive. Not challengers, but competitive. Yeah. And I keep going back to it. And like I say, 2 years ago, Liverpool were 25 points behind City. The season after, they were only 1 point behind City. This season, they've won it. I'm not saying we're going to go exactly the same pattern, but it wasn't a huge amount of squad turnover that took that for Liverpool. It was a quality coach. You know, they made the 2 massive signings in Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, and that, coupled with what Klopp had been doing over the previous 3 seasons, was the difference, wasn't it? And so I don't think it takes a huge amount of squad turnover to actually reach your goals sometimes. So I think with the quality, I've got so much faith in Arteta that I don't think it's going to be 10 years down the line, but we're going to make a challenge. Sorry, Richard, what did you say?
I think we need to all bear in mind as well that, you know, most great teams only really have maybe 3 decent seasons in them before they start to have to be rebuilt and decline. Liverpool have now had 2 great seasons. They've maybe got 1 more left with the current team before they have to start rebuilding. Man City are the same, that they've declined this season already. And so there's actually an opportunity in the next couple of years, I think, for one of the other big clubs, whether it's Man United, Chelsea, to really make a challenge and actually win the league. And I don't think it's impossible for us to say we can't win the league within the next 2 or 3 years, because I think there's an opportunity there. We have got the right coach, I agree. If we get the right players in the right areas of the pitch to improve what we've got, the young players improve, a couple more years experience, I don't see any reason why we can't be that team that can, you know, take advantage of the fact that maybe some of the other teams are going to slightly decline in the next couple of years.
I agree.
I think we've got a good opportunity now, and we need to be positive about that and stick with it with the players. We're going to have some bad games. We're going to lose a few games in the next year or so. Of course we are. But it's a process, isn't it? And we're on the right track. And I think there's an opportunity going to open up now. And we just need to make sure we do the right business now. We've made some mistakes, haven't we, in the transfer business? Our recruitment's been terrible. And if we can put that right, if Arteta gets the players he wants, and if we can get them in the right positions, I say over the next 2 years, it's not going to happen overnight because it's going to be a process. We've got a great opportunity now. And I mean, you said before about being excited. I've never really felt for a long time that we've had a chance to win much, really, other than the odd FA Cup. But I do feel now the next couple of years are going to be massive for this club, and we've got a great opportunity to put ourselves back and marker down and actually become. I don't see any reason why we can't become like what Liverpool are now in the next 2 or 3 years. I really don't see.
I don't either.
I don't see.
They haven't got world stars throughout their team. They've got very, very good quality players. Don't get me wrong.
And they've got a good system that works.
It's the sum of the parts, isn't it? It's the sum of the parts.
Look at you wouldn't have said 3 or 4 years ago, you wouldn't have said that Wijnaldum, for example, would be in a title-winning team, would you? You know, or what's his face? Henderson. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
It's very. There's so many similarities to when George Graham took over Arsenal. We were 14th in 1985, and by 88-89 we won the league. 14th we were shit, and we're not that bad now. And I think, if anything, you know, George Graham was a miracle worker. He's fantastic, but he cleared out all the big name stars, went with a lot of the youth. And we stuck by him as a fan base, even though we weren't happy when he got the job. We wanted Terry Venables when he got the job.
Yeah.
But he turned it round within 4 years, and I don't see any reason why. Well, 3 years actually it was. I don't see any reason why we can't. So I think it's a lot to be.
It'll be interesting to see actually, because one Liverpool team is not the youngest team, right? Like, so they're gonna have to rebuild, and if City get the 2-year Champions League ban, then
that was really interesting.
Sorry, say again, Rowan. Sorry.
So if Man City get the 2-year ban, then it's gonna be interesting who they get this summer, next summer. They're not a great team right now, because they're lacking in defense, they're lacking in midfield, they're selling Sane now. So, given all of this, it might be an opportunity. It wasn't too many years ago when we lost out on the Champions League 4th place by 1 point to Liverpool. And now we're 50 points ahead of us or something.
Bear with me 1 second. We're gonna say goodbye to you, Chappers, I believe.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, no, really, really. Thanks for having us on again, Andrew. It's always a pleasure. I really, really enjoyed it. It's been lovely. Just shooting the shit with you guys again this evening. So hopefully we can do it again fairly soon. Take care, guys.
Chappers, and get Chappers on Twitter, which is at Captain Chapman, I believe. Is that right?
Captain Chapman. Captain Chapman. Yeah, that's it.
See you soon. See you soon.
See you later.
Been a pleasure.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, just touching on what Rohan said there as well. This is a Man City squad is aging now. Let's not beat around the bush. They're an aging squad, so they've got to rebuild. And as he said, to get the Champions League ban, even if it's reduced by a year or whatever, you're trying to just throw money at this situation. Then, which will they be able to do that in the current climate, knowing what they're just being charged for? And will the big players want? And you see how limp they were this season, defending their title, and how easy they made it for Liverpool. With all due respect, even though Liverpool are a great team, and Liverpool up next year or two, they're going to be the same process. But I think Liverpool in a far stronger position to Man City. As you guys have all said, we've now got this 2-year buffer where we've got to capitalise on that and get ourselves to that level and start competing. I think it's perfect for us because there's no pressure on us at all.
No, I think we're the massive underdogs. We always are with the media. They hate us, and I think that Liverpool.
George Graham said that as well.
Yeah, I think Liverpool. It's going to be a test for them next season, to be honest, because it's always tough to defend your title. It's not been done huge amount of times throughout history, has it? And it's just mentally tough for the players because they've achieved so much lately over the last couple of years. But they're still going to be strong. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the last of Pep Guardiola if their ban is upheld. I think he'll be off. I wouldn't be shocked to see if he goes. To be honest.
Yeah, I think he'll be off because he wants to win the Champions League, doesn't he, with Man City? And if he can't get the opportunity, I think he'll be off. Yeah.
I've always felt that a lot of our fans, they talk about Arsenal as almost like we're Oliver Twist with the begging bowl, going up to try and get one more little scoop of porridge. I've never really seen it that way. I think that we've always had money. We've never sort of been at the begging bowl. But the big comparison and the big difference to Liverpool is that I've always felt that we've not spent our money as best as we could. And I always go back to the 75 million for Xhaka and Mustafi, you know, when we brought them in for that amount, I'm sure that money could have been spent a lot better. So going forward, is how we spend that money, if we're going to spend it wisely, and more importantly, for the positions that we need. You know, everybody can see what the positions are. You know, if the transfer window closes and we bought 2 wingers, I'm not going to be. We know what we need to do.
We need to go after the guy from Norwich, Stuart Webber. Is a really, really good guy, and again, I can't remember the guys. There's the recruitment guy from Leicester City, and I can't remember his name. Gone out of my head. What a job he's done.
Have you seen our physio though?
Sorry.
Have you seen our new physio? Have you seen our new?
Glad, isn't he? Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it makes Clash that looks tiny.
Looks like a mountain out of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he does.
But even things like that, if it helps improve the players in terms of recovery of injuries or prevention of injuries, so be it. And them little things as well that we need. Not, of course, we need players like the Thomas Partey's, Godfrey's, Max Aaron's, sorry. But it's the little things behind the scenes as well that we've neglected for the last 15 or so years. We've never fixed it. There's been issues there. We've never really fixed it. So do that as well. Things will improve on the pitch. Touch wood.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, get rid of Raul. Slash his
Danny
throat.
DeVito.
Slash his throat. Leave him. Feed him to the fishes, and then we bring in Stuart Webber. I think that'd be quite a good result.
Make sure you destroy his black book.
Say that again, Tony.
Make sure you destroy his black book while you're at it.
Little black book,
definitely. All his mates, yeah.
I think there's even talk about David O'Leary being brought into the fold within the board side of it.
Well, he put an into it, didn't he? He blocked it. He blocked it. Raul blocked it.
Raul blocked it in the end.
Yeah,
idiot.
That was spoken about 2 seasons ago or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago. It was last summer, I think.
Up to this summer, it's gone. That's why I didn't hear nothing new, so I assumed it was all ongoing behind the scenes. But yeah.
And again, though, David O'Leary, the way he spent that money up at Leeds, cool, blimey, Jesus.
That's Leeds. That's
he went through something pretty quick, didn't he?
David O'Leary, though, don't you think he looks like he's out of League of Gentlemen? This is a local club for local people. Wouldn't be signing any foreigners, would we? Anyway, we have called it a day there.
They should care, though.
Been up to 2 hours again. It's unbelievable, but why stop when you're having fun, eh? It's been a good laugh again. I really appreciate all of you guys coming on. It's been brilliant. Hopefully, we'll get together again soon. Wednesday, is it Saturday or Sunday we're playing?
Saturday
5:30 kickoff.
That's
at 5:30, not 6 o'clock kickoff, but it's 5:30 when it comes on the TV.
Isn't it 5:30 kickoff or not?
No, it's 6 o'clock. I think 6. I double check. Bear with me.
If anyone fancies watch along, do you want to do a watch along on this channel this time, or anyone up for it?
Yeah, 5:30 kickoff. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was 5:30 kickoff. Yeah.
Well, we'll touch base then later in the week if you fancy getting a watch along together.
Sort something out.
Yeah, that could be good. Yeah, sure sounds good. Yeah.
Sound well. Have a good evening, guys, and thanks again for coming on, Stan, Tony, Ryan, Richard, and Rowan. It's been fantastic. So, if anyone can give us a like, that'd be great. The audio version of the podcast will come out again soon, so give us a like on that as well. That'd be fantastic. And subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you all again soon, next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Take it easy.